boys and girls. Today we're going to do lesson 10 in math. So today we're going to talk about fourths, and fourths are 4 equal parts. So we're going to look at, first we have a rectangle and we have a circle. You have both of them on your paper here. I've just drawn them to the side over here so they're a little bit bigger for you to see as I work through this. So the first thing I want to do if I want to get 4 equal parts is I want to divide it into 2 equal parts first. So if I look at my rectangle, I'm just going to separate it so I have 2 equal parts. So I'm going to go right across the middle. So if I have 2 equal parts, we call that half. And half is a fraction, so when I write it, it looks like this, 1/2. So I have halves here. If I go down here and I want to do 4 equal parts, I'm just going to put it in half again. So I have 2 equal parts. That's what a half is, 2 equal parts. Then I'm just going to go right down the center. So now I have 4 equal parts, fourths or a quarter. So when I write that one, that fraction is a fourth. There's a fourth there. So over here I'm going to do the same thing with my circle. First I want to make it into 2 equal parts. So I'm just going to draw a line. So remember, 2 equal parts is a half. Then I'm going to just copy that line again. Then I want to go across the other way. Now I have fourths or quarters. I have 4 equal parts there. All right, so we are going to look at our guided practice, and we're going to have to either draw in or do some coloring of parts of shapes so we have the equal parts and the fourths. So I'm just going to erase this with my hand. All right, so if you look at the back side, and I'm just going to draw over here. So it says the whole that is separated into 4 equal parts is separated into fourths or quarters. So if you look here, they have a circle and they have a square. So 4 equal parts or 4 fourths, because there are 4 fourths there, or you can call it 4 quarters. Each part is a fourth or a quarter of the whole. So this is 1/4 of the whole, or it's a quarter of the whole. So it says you're going to write how many equal parts make up the whole. So when we look at number 1, we're going to see how many parts do we have. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. And I just wrote the numbers in as I went around. So my shape looks like this. So all I did is I went in and just numbered it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 4 equal parts. When I look at number 2, so it just gives me a circle. Same thing. I'm just going to write them in there so I don't lose track of any of them that I've used and I haven't used. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, I have 4 equal parts. So number 3 says draw lines to show 4 equal parts and write how many fourths. So the first thing they give me is a rectangle. If you remember from the lesson the other day, we looked at the rectangle, and there is more than one way to put this rectangle into fourths or equal parts, right? So I can go down the middle. So it's in half first. I have 2 equal parts. Then I can take those equal parts and divide them into 2 equal parts. So now I have fourths. That's one way to do it. Remember, I can also put it into 2 equal parts like this. Now I want to put this one into 2 equal parts and this one into 2 equal parts. So I have 4 equal parts or fourths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 2 different ways to do it. So the last way I could do it is, remember, I'm going to go 2 equal parts. I want to take this part, make it into 2 equal parts, and I want to take the last one, I want to make it into 2 equal parts. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts there. So you decide which way you want to break up your rectangle, but I still know that there are 4 fourths there. Doesn't matter which way I do it, I have 4 fourths, I have 4 parts. So now I'm going to look at number 4, and this time they've just given me a square. First, I'm going to divide it in half, two halves that are equal. Then across, that's one way I can do it, just like I did my rectangle. Can I go 2 equal parts? Divide that into 2 equal parts, that into 2 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. Can I go down the center? 2 equal parts. I'm going to divide that one into 2 parts. That one into 2 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. I have 4 parts. I have 4 parts. But if you remember and you look back at number 1, they have a square there. And they also have 4 equal parts there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, we're going to say it's 4/4. You decide which way you want to do it because there's more than one way to break that square up into 4 equal parts. As you're doing that, I want you to think about this. How are halves and fourths different? How is a half different from a fourth? So remember, a half or a fourth. Right, a half is only 2 parts, and a fourth is 4 parts. So a half has 2 parts that are bigger, a fourth has 4 parts that are a little bit smaller. So you're going to do the independent practice on your own, and you're going to do the homework on your own. Let's take a minute though and look at the problem solving. So it says, Heidi has a cookie. She and 3 friends want to share the cookie. How many equal parts does Heidi need? So let's think about this. Let's do the math first. So Heidi has a cookie. So there's Heidi. And, so remember I'm going to put them together. That's a plus sign. And how many friends does she have? 3. So Heidi and 3 friends want to share a cookie. How many equal parts does Heidi need? 1 and 3 makes, right, 4. It makes 4. So she's going to have to take that cookie, and remember it's just a circle, and she's going to have to divide it with 3 friends, so 2 equal parts. Now I have 4 equal parts. She's going to need 4 equal parts. So that cookie, I'm just going to divide it down the center, across the center. Now that cookie has 4 equal parts. Adriana draws a line on a rectangle to show equal parts. She then draws another line to show more equal parts. Describe what happens to the sizes of the parts. So what's happening each time she draws lines? So let's look at it separate. So first she had a rectangle. Then she had that same rectangle and she drew one line to make 2 parts. Then she had that same rectangle, she had the 2 parts, and then she decided to draw another line to make 4 parts. What do we notice is happening to the parts? Right, every time she draws another line, the parts get smaller. So first we have 1 part, the 2 parts are smaller than that, and then the 4 parts are even smaller than that. So remember, when we have the lines, we have to write a response in a complete sentence. So the question is, describe what happens to the sizes of the parts. So each time she draws a line, the parts get smaller. So I'm just going to write, each time she draws a line, draws a line, the parts get smaller. So remember I started with an uppercase letter because I am writing a sentence and I ended with a period. And then you'll notice right here after line, I use this one here. So let me erase that one and make it again so you can see. That's a comma, so when I make my comma, I just do a period and then add a monkey tail. So each time she draws a line, the parts get smaller. So remember, when you're finished, you need to go back and do your independent practice on your own and your homework. Just like the rest of the lessons, some of you are going to have your homework in your packet, and some of you are going to have your homework in your portfolio.